Welcome to the Skepdicks podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Cole, and over here you have Tom, and right here you have Josh, and I'm just going to start over. Welcome, everybody. Just shut that phone up.
Sorry. It won't happen again.
Sorry for the outburst, everyone. Cole does have an anger problem. He is seeking help for that.
Tom, Josh, how you doing, guys?
Doing good this morning. Long night. Baby kept us up, but feeling good today. Ready to talk about ghosts. Tommy?
Yeah, Josh's baby kept me up too. I was just I was there. I was sleeping. I was waking the baby up.
Cool. Well, yeah. Like Josh said, we decided we wanted to talk about ghosts today. And it's kind of fun because a conversation about ghosts is largely what spurred the idea to do this podcast. So episode 5, I guess, here we are, and we're talking about ghosts. And there'll definitely be multiple installations of talking about ghosts. But
yeah, the conversation, I think that might be worth actually going into slightly. That spurred this podcast was Cole's fascination with me not believing in things, but also the ability to then be scared of these things. So ghosts fall directly into that realm of me not believing in ghosts, me not believing that there are ghosts that people see, and then also being kind of scared. Like you'll notice in today's podcast, I'm not super prepared to speak on these things because I was a little scared to look up videos of ghosts that people might have posted because they kind of get me on edge and get my adrenaline pumping. But at the same time, think that they're all fake and don't believe any of it. So do with that what you will.
It's like the same thing. The same thing of like of not believing in ghosts, but going to a haunted house. Like if you were going through like a dark house that people say is haunted, like I mean, you definitely feel scared, But like it's like I don't know, you're just scared more of what the dark and the possibility, but you still don't believe. Like
you're having like a subjective experience despite what your objective take on the world is.
Right. Yeah. So that's interesting, Josh.
Yeah. I don't know how to. I mean, same thing goes for a lot of the other topics we're going to discuss on this podcast with Bigfoot or, many, many others to come. I don't believe in most of them. Yeah, chupacabra.
Man.
Terrifying.
I'm not necessarily scared of the chupacabra. From all accounts, they just look like dead rabbits. So, sorry, Cole. Pretty sure I could take those. But yeah, ghosts, they do they do get me. Like in ghost stories, everyone knows somebody that'll tell you a ghost story. Maybe it's from being a kid and like that we were prime age for Sixth Sense to come out.
Yeah.
And that definitely had an effect on me. I don't know.
Yeah. I think I don't know. I think it's just kind of like natural to get the heebie-jeebies about it. I think it is one of those like ancient things. Like it's an inescapable part of being human that like there is a fear of, well, first of all, there's like a feeling about the other side, but then there's like a fear of the dark version of that. And I think that's like, no matter who you are, no matter what you believe, like that's kind of programmed into your DNA either way. So
I feel like that's why I've always justified my not believing of ghosts. One, obviously just zero evidence for me of there being one, never having witnessed anything myself. But two, feeling like I've had people in my life that have passed away and that I know if they could visit me, they would. And so it just makes me feel like if there was the ability for a haunting or for a visiting of some sort, it just feels like that person would be here in this room next to me right now, spending time with me if they could, versus, some guy who got, that died in this room at this house and it's just a crappy house. And if you go there, he's also there,
Right. Yeah. I think that's a very interesting point because it's like, that does beg the question of like, can everyone, in a world where this exists, which I think it does, can everyone do that? Like, who can and can't interact with the living world? How? Why? What those mechanisms are. How aware are they of what's happening? Like, how aware are we of what's happening? Are visitations, apparitions, things like that, are those like accidental glimpses of something that's always going on? Like, there's just so much you could construct out of it if you're if you're like, there are like ways you can try to make sense of it, but there are so many variables and possibilities that you can never like fully construct an understanding of it, I don't think.
Well,
so maybe sorry, Tom.
The game plan then for us, like, let's develop a plan where, like, there is, if one of us dies, to look for this very specific thing, like not like a blue bird or something stupid where you're just gonna see a ton of bluebirds in your regular everyday life, like something very specific, like
an ostrich
you'll
in California.
Yeah. Or just like, like a butterfly with a little T on his wings. That's me, guys. What's up? Did you solve it yet? Did you figure out who killed me?
I love how that's how it happens. Like, if we die, it's definitely because we got killed.
Cut to Tom as like a chubby little caterpillar, like he's like chasing us down. I'm gonna get there. Give me a month or two. Come
on. Dude, have you guys seen much of Supernatural, the TV show?
The first few seasons I watched.
I think it was sometime in the first few seasons. There's like an episode where one or both of them like become ghosts, I think. I don't remember if they're dead or if it's like an out of body thing, but they have a fun little interpretation of like ghosts interacting with physical things where it's like they literally have to like practice with it and build up enough, like, I guess, I don't know, kinetic energy or something to be able to affect the physical world. And I think that's probably how it is. So if we're going to come up with something that we could recognize each other by, we should think of something that's like simple but unmistakable, but very simple.
I think you could have said the same thing that happens in the Patrick Swayze vehicle, Ghost. That's it. That's exactly. You never saw that movie?
Never saw it, no.
Josh, you watched that movie? Yeah.
What's that? Of course, face for.
I mean, for someone who's had the time to watch every Nicolas Cage movie, I think you would have seen the movie Ghost. That's all I'm saying.
I think I would have too.
He was about to do a podcast on the topic Ghost.
Yeah, I thought we were doing a podcast about this movie.
Tom did his 2 hours of research again.
Yeah.
These are very good points.
I watched that movie back to back.
Nice. I haven't seen Ghost. I haven't seen Roadhouse. I haven't seen Dirty Dancing. I haven't seen Point Break. I don't know if I've seen. I haven't seen Red Dawn. I don't know if I've ever seen a Patrick Swayze movie.
These are all things that you would love.
Yeah.
Yeah. Roadhouse. I feel like there's an alternate universe where that's all you talk about. As much as you've talked about like Nicolas Cage, there's a different universe where all Cole talks about is Roadhouse.
Swayze.
And you're a bouncer and you have a ponytail.
Yeah,
I know, but it's because you're a bouncer that you have a ponytail.
Gotcha.
Like that's your personality.
Yeah, no one ever really wins a fight, Cole.
Is that from that movie? Nice. See, I
they're doing
didn't.
it.
I had never heard of a movie called Roadhouse until this year, until I found out about Jake Gyllenhaal being in a
Yeah,
remake.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm surprised you never saw the Family Guy thing of Peter saying Roadhouse.
Yeah.
I feel like that's where I first heard of it.
Okay.
It was just like a parody, Peter doing like a parody of Roadhouse.
Gotcha.
I feel
Yeah.
like the first reference I heard of it, I watched it because my dad just had me watch like all those
Yeah.
old movies back then. But
Yeah.
the first reference I heard of Roadhouse was Ron White's stand-up special, and he was talking about being kicked out of a bar, and he said,
Okay.
these are the type of bouncers that sit around jerking off to Roadhouse and just talk about bouncing all day.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Ron White's a funny guy. Is he still alive?
Oh, dude, yeah, he's
Okay.
living life, and he has a full
That's
head
great.
of the most silver, perfect hair.
Still has that hair.
Oh,
Okay.
he lives in Austin. He got the whole comedy scene moved to Austin.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, with Joe Rogan, and he has a number one tequila. He started a tequila company.
Number one.
Yeah, number one.
Nice.
Yeah, he's living the good life. He's the man.
Good. I ask because like I don't think I've seen any of the guy's stuff since we were in high school, and back then he looked like the kind of guy who was gonna like smoke or drink himself to death very soon. So I just I was worried, so I had to ask.
Yeah, yeah.
If Ron White had died, he would be a hilarious ghost. Let's get this back on track, guys.
Well,
Good idea.
Something that just made me think. I bet there's like isn't Whoopi Goldberg in the movie Ghost? She's the one that he comes and like talks to, and she's the.
Yeah.
I bet there's been a million packs of people like us three dorks that have said like, okay, if one of us dies, we'll go haunt Whoopi Goldberg and make her be the one to come tell us that it's real. And so that, I mean, probability is, yeah, that would probably convince me if all of a sudden Whoopi Goldberg's knocking at my door saying, "Hey guys, Cole told me to come find you," and
Okay,
it would
Whoopi
be
Goldberg.
It would be Nick Cage.
Nick Cage. Okay, I'll send Nick Cage and Pedro Pascal to your door.
Oh, just an hilarious duo. So have you guys, Cole? I remember you had a crazy dream, or was it a dream where you were like hallucinated seeing a ghost?
Yeah. So when I was a kid, I was pretty afraid of the dark and stuff like that, and I shared a room with two of my siblings. But I was like, if I was the last one to fall asleep, I had a real hard time going to sleep because I was like afraid because I was alone, right? And one night we had a TV in our room. I stayed up watching TV to kind of allay that fear since I was the last one up. So I was just comforting myself with TV. And at some point, I turned off the TV and I was looking at my bedroom wall, which was just a white wall. And the longer I looked at it, and this is like in the late hours, so I was a little loopy. The longer I looked at it, the more something like started to like take shape, and then eventually it cascaded, like it began to happen real quickly. It like took shape and started moving toward me, and what I was seeing, kid you not, was like a woman in a red dress, and her skin was like yellowish, like dead. And her dress was tattered, red, just a tattered red dress. And as she was coming toward me, in my mind, it was like, oh my gosh, this is what Bloody Mary is. This is that thing that I've always been afraid of, with the stand in the bathroom, look in the mirror thing. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm seeing like the real Bloody Mary. And it was like coming at me, and it was freaking me out. And it was as if it like phased through the wall, you know what I mean? Like it came through the wall and then was floating toward me. So at a certain point, I was like, done. I bolted up and like ran. Oh, this is the funny part. What got me on my feet is like, as that started happening, all of a sudden a loud noise comes from the other room. and what I think I'm hearing is, "Ooh," like a movie like ghost sound or something. What I'm actually hearing is my parents' alarm clock had gone off, and 103.1, the country station, was like playing, and I was just hearing it muffled through the door. So I hear this noise that sounds super ghosty, and I get on my feet and I run to my parents' room to seek shelter, I guess. And it was like, by the next morning, probably, I like realized what had happened. I was like, okay, I was up late, I was loopy, and like I stared at something too long. Pareidolia took effect, but it was crazy just how detailed and like real seeming this thing was. And that experience has helped me to contextualize things that people are convinced that they experienced, and like weed some things out, because like visual evidence or whatever, visual experience is like very falsifiable, the same way that mishearing or misunderstanding something is. So it was an enlightening experience, but a freaky one.
Yeah. Now imagine if that Bloody Mary was E.T. in a red dress.
Tom knows everything about me, dude. I had a recurring ET nightmare as a kid.
It was E.T.
I remember Tom referencing that to you before too. The only content I don't think you've ever told me about ET, but I remember Tom teasing you about ET before.
It's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny when like with people's own personal ghost stories, it's I found that, if I was to read like I mean, and it goes back to remote viewing too, like with you're or wait, I completely lost train when I said remote viewing. I was thinking about something else. Oh, like believing. Yeah. So like in a matter of believing, like at work one day, I remember I was asking just people if they had any ghost stories. I think I watched a movie
Nice.
where it was ghosts, and these people told me stories, and I was like, I don't know, I believe those way more than like if a Harvard professor wrote a story, wrote his experience about
Okay.
whining and dining this ghost for a night, and like if
Yeah.
he wrote this crazy paper on his experience with a ghost, I don't know, I'd believe like this random guy that I was working at Burger King with
Okay.
for like I believe that so much more, because I was like, I know this guy, I trust this guy, and I don't think he would lie.
Yeah, I get that. I think that I think that is important. We've talked before about uh what's the like anecdotal evidence or anecdotal experiences. And like I think that they're not all created equal, and it is important to like use your own discernment in like, okay, like evaluating the person and evaluating case by case the stories that come to you. And some of them, yeah, like being anecdotal is enough to throw them out sometimes, but often it's not enough.
So this buddy that is the story that I believed, he had two of them that were like had me scared. So he inherited a house that was his grandma's. It was one of the first houses built in our hometown in Gridley, and
Nice.
so he inherited it, and he let his aunt and her husband and her daughter live there with him. And so he said he got off work one day, and he like I don't know, he went to get into the pantry, and he went to open the doorknob, and then the doorknob of the pantry just turned in his hand. And
Nice.
so the house is like almost 100 years old. I hear that, I'm like, oh, I believe that. Why would he lie about that? Why would he lie about feeling it? Because I don't think he would. And then the other story that freaked me out was like his what was it? Like, he was sitting on the couch. He said he got off work late, and he was sitting on the couch, and he heard something in the kitchen, so he went in there to check it out, and they had like, those like fruit fruit baskets that you can hang from the ceiling. They like gradually get bigger, and you put fruit in, whatever. He said they had those like filled with top ramen, so it was like
Nice.
top ramen tower. And so he said he walked in there, and the thing was just shaking.
Ooh.
And he's like, "Oh, that's weird." And so then he went back to the couch, and he heard something again. He walked in there, and it was shaking again. And he said it was like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. or something, like just super late. And the next morning, his aunt, so I guess it's his cousin, so his aunt's daughter comes down and is like, who the hell put top ramen in my bed? There was like crunched up top ramen all in her bed.
Jeez.
So it's like, I mean, maybe she was just munching on that like and fell asleep and forgot. But I don't know, that kind of stuff freaks me out. Like I tend to believe that more.
Your friend had diabetes, and both of these stories had to do with food, and had low blood sugar moments, had the shakes when they were going to get in there, and that's why the doorknobs seemed like they were turning, and then they were shaking when they were going to get snack and saw the top ramen in the fruit basket.
Well, it doesn't explain the niece or not the niece, but the cousin being like, I don't know.
Yeah,
like waking up being confused about it.
That's I feel like
as a former extremely obese person, there has been many a time I've faked being confused of the number of crumbs in my bed. What? How did all this bacon get and donuts? What? Who? How? Yeah, not buying it. And why were ghosts putting top ramen? What kind of silly ghosts were these? And what? You know, I don't know.
I do feel like there are enough things outside of the paranormal that could explain that like me not knowing this guy, like those are my first resorts, like what Josh is saying. My favorite one that you said is the handle turning thing, but it also seems like if there's any part of this guy that would exaggerate or make something up, like that would be the one that would be
like not at all
made up. Sure, okay. But like that's, a movie moment, and that's a good one to tell. Now the other ones, like I could imagine if there was like a small enough tremor in Gridley that like he's on a first floor and it didn't affect his couch or his bed or whatever, but it affected these wiry baskets dangling from the ceiling. I could imagine that. I could imagine the cousin being someone who has like a sleepwalking eating issue and doesn't know it. Like there are other things that are my first resort, but I won't totally like rule out the paranormal possibility there. And I think your evaluation of him and of the situation is like encouraging. So it's like, I'll consider it.
Yeah.
But also like, not that anything is evidence for anything else, right? But like if we're going off this podcast, right, we go back to the supernatural thing. You got to practice this kinetic energy to affect something. And so this ghost has been spending all this time sitting in the pantry practicing turning this doorknob, really spinning it for the time that your friend happened to walk over and put their hand on the thing. And then the big payoff was that, did you see it? I got him to think I twist the doorknob in his hand, or maybe it just kind of didn't.
Yeah. So I had I don't want to say it was okay. So I have an interesting tangent. So cool. One day I was Kat was out of town, or my wife was out of town, and I was just getting ready for work. I was going to work overnight shift, and it was before we had kids, but so I had this room full of instruments, and I had a keyboard in there, and I guess I left it on. So I was just walking by, and I hear ding, and I'm like, I just like look down the hallway, like, oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I wasn't like, oh, like say running around, but it was like, oh, that was freaky. Like that's crazy. Like later on when I have time, I'm totally gonna Google like whether someone died at this house. Nice. Like just to see.
Yeah.
And then just to put a cap on that, a baby died at the house.
No way.
Yeah. Little baby.
That's really sad. Like apart from the
really
scariness
sad.
Of what happened.
They're reaching up to the piano.
Ding. Dude.
Okay. Anyway.
Maybe.
Anyway, so that day, and I think it was an overtime shift, so I was working with people that I wasn't really like as familiar with.
Yeah.
And so So I was just thinking about paranormal stuff all day, or ghosts, like
Nice.
and
Yeah.
hauntings. So I go down like the way that my tower or the work way that my work is like everybody is assigned like a tower, and you can kind of like make your way down and visit with people. So it
Yeah.
was just a chill night. So I was just walking around them. Every person I'd be like, hey, do you have like an interesting like ghost story? And everyone's like, well, no. Like they told me some interesting ones. Like one guy
Mm-hmm.
said that his necklace with a cross, he woke up and the cross was just off, and he said he was like dreaming about the devil,
Hmm.
and it was like a perfect like a perfect chain that doesn't come off, or
Okay.
like a sealed one. So that was interesting. Like I don't know if I believe that. Then there was someone else. Like I was just asking. So I had like 4 different people tell me, or just people be like, no. And I go up to this woman, this older woman, and I'm like, hey, do you have like a ghost story? Like, ask her. And she's like, no, but I did see aliens one time. I was like,
All
oh,
right.
okay, see you later. I just walked away.
Gosh. Oh man.
He's like just not interested. I just wanted ghosts.
That's so funny.
But then the funniest thing of all was I go up to the last guy that I see. I'm like, hey, Brandon. Like, hey, do you have any like ghost stories? And he's like, why do you ask me this? I'm like, I don't know. I've just been asking everybody. He's like, did you feel like inclined to ask me about this? I'm like, I guess. I was like, he's like, he's like, so why are you asking? I was like, well, here's the thing. I saw, I heard a thing in my house today. And he's like, that's so interesting because when I walked by your tower
I saw an
earlier,
alien.
yeah, when
Waiting
I
for
walked
it.
by, when I walked by your tower earlier, I saw someone standing there with you. I was like, what are you saying? He's like, I am a paranormal investigator, and I think you felt inclined to ask me about ghosts today because you know that he also says he's clairvoyant.
Yeah.
That I am clairvoyant, and I could feel and see energies. And he's like, oh, this is not good. You have a very negative energy standing next to you right now. I could feel it. It's bringing me down. Oh, this guy is so full of shit, man.
Yeah. Yep. Sounds like it.
like he was still pretty new at the time, and like I don't know, like over the years getting to know him, I've
Mm-hmm.
never seen a dude like more just like full of shit.
Yeah. That
Just
frustrates me so bad, man.
but yeah, he literally he like really was in a paranormal investigative group. There's all these dorky pictures of him like with his shirt tucked in.
Nice detail.
That's the detail.
And like the Oakleys
With
and
the shirt tucked in. It's weird that you say that. Was he wearing like cargo jean, like pants with a belt?
you want to guess
With
the
a
color of the
t-shirt
shirt?
tucked in?
Yeah, you want to guess the color of the shirt?
You don't know it, Tom.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
It's black. That's
That was a
easy.
joke.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm not racist, Cole. I am colorblind.
Tom's comment about also being clairvoyant, off podcast. I don't think it was in the recording
Oh,
yet,
yeah.
but we talked about my fiance Jen being clairvoyant, or thinking she is. She won't make
I
it this
love
far in
that.
the podcast, so
Yeah.
she won't make it to this point. And so and I won't say it when she's on because she might come on. So if you're in this point of the podcast, I don't think so.
Okay, if she's not getting, if
She does, and I won't say it to her face or in front of her. So just know that when you see us together,
Oh my gosh.
if Jen isn't gonna get this far, then I have a message. Don't marry Josh. He's not who he says he is. He killed the real Josh.
She's not listening to the ghost or you, buddy.
I love that. I love that you are such a hardcore, like, non-believer, so to speak, and that you're marrying someone like Jen who is like Some people might even say that's kooky. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm atheist, not to like out. I've always
Tom's disappointed face.
been surrounded myself with people with different views for the most
Yeah.
part, that's never bothered me,
Nice.
as long as you aren't like so stuck to your view that you think, it's like your personality is your view,
Yeah.
where I've
Yeah.
actually been guilty of that in my past, and that's something now I found is something I don't like, so like I
Cool.
go to church with Jen sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
and she allows me to point out the stuff that's a little silly. I've gone to church in the past, like there was one time this pastor was talking about how he was walking along and there was he found this bird on the ground and he could tell that the wing was injured, and he picked it up and he said a prayer, and if God please heal this bird, and he just held it, and then he threw it up in the air and the bird flew away, and God healed that bird in front of him through him as his vessel. And I was sitting there, and then that girlfriend was sitting there like, oh my God, like
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe our pastor's this healer. And I was like, I don't buy any of it. So
Yeah.
stuff like that, like I don't know about, but like, Jen has a very open mind about it where, and I can believe in more than like the typical atheist where I don't know that there's nothing. Like obviously I have this podcast with you guys where it's like, man,
Yeah.
maybe it's a simulation, and maybe the simulation theory is where our perception of God comes from, or
Right.
I'm open to all kinds of other stuff. I'm also
Yeah.
open to the idea that I could be wrong,
Yeah.
like I don't think I am, but who
Yeah.
knows?
Dude, yeah.
Um,
Hot take. Pastors are more full of shit than that guy I was talking about seeing ghosts.
They tend to be. Yeah. I hate to be controversial, but yeah, there are a lot of like religious leaders that my gosh, it's astounding just how bad at it they are. Like how full of crap and how bad at being full of crap they are, and they still, find themselves with loads of followers. It's
it's
weird.
hard to find a documentary that's not about somebody taking advantage of any religious group for their own personal gain right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Anyway,
Did I tell you guys about the time I went to youth group in Richvale?
I don't think so.
So I went with a girl that I used to date. I think we were like 19, or I don't know. We were young. So we went to this youth group thing at the church, and it was not a type of church that I'm used to going to. So it was like a big deal because they brought in this guy who could speak in. He was like a big deal in the preacher world, and he could speak in tongues.
I was
I
hoping
hate that.
And I watched seriously like 30 teenagers line up and have him like, oh, like just spouting off gibberish.
Yeah.
I watched every single one of these kids faint because they were
Yeah.
like, I refused to go up there. My girlfriend was like, hey, let's go. I'm like, no. I was like,
Yeah.
there's nothing in this world that's gonna. Oh, actually, there's one reason I would go is to just prove that that it's BS. Is to just go up there and be like, But there's no reason that like I would actually like fall for that BS and like and think that he is a holy man. Yeah, right.
With Tom, he like really reaches back,
yeah,
knocks Tom out.
Like,
put the fear of God into that boy.
Dude, if I was brave, then I would have just started speaking gibberish right back to him.
Nice.
Like
have you ever seen that documentary about, I forget what it's called, but it's about that Marjo.
I remember you telling me about it.
There's a kid that was like, his parents had him to be a preacher, and his name's Marjo, and they named him for Mary and Joseph. and that's why
I
they
have
named
heard
him
of this.
Margot. And he taught, like, the whole documentary was him going around being the youngest like pastor or whatever, and he talks about the speaking in tongues, and he's like, yeah, I just go out there and I just yell a bunch of crazy stuff, and like it's
Nice.
like him kind of like talking about how fake it is, and then going out and them filming him just being fake in front of all these people and selling it. But
Interesting.
that kind of made me sad. You know, there was a point where I kind of reveled in that, where I'm like, see, it's fake, it's fake. And then now I'm like, you know, there's people with good intentions, and, you know, those people that are passing out, like, they're having a real experience. So, you know, if they're feeling closer to what they think is God, and, you know, that it kind of makes me sad that there's people out there taking advantage of that. You know?
Yeah. I think that this is just the gospel according to Cole, but
Here we go. Here comes the next cult leader.
I think seeking experiences with a higher power or what you consider to be a higher power, I think that's perfectly good and healthy. And I think you can have objective or subjective experiences that like serve to like better your relationship with with the universe, with other people, make you want to do better. And I think those are good, and I think those are necessary. I think us becoming something good is like a necessary part of our evolution. But I don't think people who put no scrutiny, no critical analysis into their process, like who just want to go out and be like, I guess, hypnotized or mentally barraged and overwhelmed, and like lean into like a mass delusion. Like, I don't think that's good for them. I don't think that's good for people in the world. And yeah, and then there are the people who take advantage of that, because if they're the person giving that experience, then they get the money for it. And it's all, I don't think any of those people are better off for walking up there and having someone put their hand on their forehead and then fainting willingly.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so weird. It was just like, I don't know, easy to see how people fall for things in that moment.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
like the things that people will just believe if there's a line of people doing it.
Totally.
You know? Like every single one of those people like threw themselves backwards fainting, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like every single one of them knows it's BS and would rather just go along with it and believe than like acknowledge the farce.
Yeah. And that's a tough truth. Like, that's tough, I think. It's not a fun reality to recognize, but
That's like ingrained in us, though. I feel like that's like a whole different
phenomenon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of just like not wanting to be the one to stand out. Like it's like ingrained in us to not be cast out, not to stand
Totally.
out, not to.
But to steer the ship back, I'm going to surprise you guys. We're
Cool.
going to do a mini draft of ghosts. Two picks each. Cole, your number one ghost. Go for it.
Okay. Is this like number one ghost from a fictional
Any
thing?
type of ghost.
Okay. Number one ghost to me would be, dude, that's actually really tough.
I've got one on lock, so I
All
can
right.
go first.
You
All right, Josh,
start
go
it.
first.
Huh?
You go.
I can start?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Casper.
Oh,
all day.
Damn it. He's one of my favorites.
It's awesome.
Love that movie. Good old ghost. Cool uncles. Guy can fry an egg like nobody's business. Can turn himself into an egg. The way he served up that, and then his uncles ate that food and it fell straight through him. Never forget that scene.
How recently have you watched this movie?
This year, like casually with Jackson.
Sweet.
Yeah. Prior to that, like 10 years probably before that,
Nice.
but still, like that scene of the food falling straight through has never left me. So.
That's awesome.
Cool.
I'll just do category of. I can't think of a specific one, but I love ghosts that are weird, that are something slightly other than human. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, this is whatever in this weird spirit world, this like creaturey ghost, like monster thing has, like, it was once a human and it turned into this because of whatever. The spirit world is different. I love weird things like that. They're fun in fiction.
Can I say who I thought Cole was going to say?
Yes.
Bloody Mary.
Ghost Rider.
It's a good one.
I'm gonna have to go with the ghost from Angels in the Outfield.
Nice. Christopher Lloyd.
Christopher Lloyd. Yeah, just absolutely cheating to help the Angels win.
Everybody's favorite angel, everybody's favorite Martian, everybody's favorite time traveler.
Yeah, really. Josh, you got another ghost in mind, buddy?
I just pulled up a list of ghosts right now. Let's see.
Because I'd also like to do. I'll just take my second pick. The Ghost of Christmas Past. Come on.
That's good. I like
what
that.
what a valuable lesson that she teaches.
Oh, is it a she?
Oh well, I'm talking about the Ghost of Christmas. Wait. Oh, I'm getting them confused. The Ghost of Christmas Future. I think is supposed to be a she, or it's like a non-binary,
Is that the candle one?
I'm thinking of the Muppets, so I'm looking at like the childlike ghost.
Yeah,
So
I don't remember.
I guess they them they are my favorite.
They them.
Non-binary Christmas ghost.
Right on. My second pick will be. You know what, man? This probably isn't truly my second favorite. And it's going to be controversial, but Jared Leto's character from the Haunted Mansion remake that just came out.
Oh, interesting.
And it kind of fits in the category of like, they're like weird and creaturey.
Yeah.
You know, he's got like that skull face and the wiry hair. It's just a fun, kooky ghost. I like it. I like the design.
Man, just let's
I don't know if it counts or not, but I did rewatch all of like Dragon Ball, not all, but well, actually all of Dragon Ball Z recently, and Goku spends like half that whole thing dead.
Oh yeah,
a halo above him. So I'm gonna pick Goku for
Sweet
for the time that he spends dead with a halo.
Yeah, that's a good one. Honorable mention, and I'm gonna go with the art, not the artist. Ghost Dad, great freaking movie with Bill Cosby.
I haven't seen it, but cool. The art, not the artist.
Oh, can we cut that out? Really prefer.
It's okay for Tom to out himself. It's
I really prefer not to have Bill Cosby on.
Dude, you love Michael Jackson more than anybody I know. Okay.
Now we're actually getting controversial.
What? Michael Jackson is not more controversial. Actually,
what I mean is Tom.
There's no controversy about Bill Cosby. That is
that's exactly. I mean, Tom insinuating that with any kind of like certainty, I think is controversial.
What? I'm just saying. I'm not saying that. I said art, not the artist. Okay.
Yeah.
I still love "I Believe I Can Fly," the song by R. Kelly. Okay. I know he's a terrible person.
That is fair. Yeah, I think the trouble with Michael Jackson is it's hard to know anything for sure about his personal life. And yes, it's like hard to put him in the same category as.
Anyway, if you separate the art from the artist, Ghost Dad, great movie, great kids movie.
Cool.
The dad dies in a taxi. Him and the taxi guy die. He goes back and he does all the things he's supposed to do as a dad.
All right. That is cool. I dig that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's not controversial. I do not support Bill Cosby.
Except on Patreon, right?
Yeah. I do subscribe to his newsletter. It's from prison.
Okay. Real quick, before continuing on ghosts, Tom, Do you want to take a break to do that remote viewing follow-up experiment thing?
Oh yeah.
We forgot one of the best ghosts,
Oh, what you got?
Beetlejuice.
Oh yeah,
That
Beetlejuice.
is
Yep.
that is good.
That's up
Yeah.
there, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure
True that.
he would have been picked if we if we talked about doing the mini draft before this.
Beetlejuice and I'm changing mine to Beetlejuice and Jared Leto. Yep.
Yeah. Beetlejuice, the ghost with the most.
And I'm sure there's people out there that pick like the. I'm just reading off the list now. This is not something that would come up for me, but like Slimer from.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, or the blowjob ghost. Shout out to that one for Dan Aykroyd.
Oh, the
Dan
real.
Aykroyd.
Oh. Is that in the movie?
Yeah, he's like laying there, and you see his pants going undone, and then you just see him cross his eyes.
Okay, I don't remember that from the movie, but have you heard him tell his real like ghost in the bed experience on Joe Rogan? He straight up is like, yeah, dude, one time I was laying in bed and I like felt something crawl into bed with me and there was no one there, and you know, I don't know if it was a male or female, but it was like a comforting presence, and I just like actually had a moment with it, and I just like spooned this ghost all night.
That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
You remember? I think it was Ryan Reynolds. You remember his his? I think he filmed the movie like the Winchester, or no, not Winchester Mansion, the Haunting.
Oh yeah, he did the remake of Amityville Horror.
Amityville Horror, yeah. And he said like, you know, there was something to do with like a certain time in the movie, like in the Amityville. I don't remember the exact time, but we'll say it was like 2:13 in the morning. That like the character, like that's what happened in like the real story or the presumed story. And then in the movie, that's what happens. Like you wake up at 2:13 or whatever. And then, and then during filming, he said like every night he would wake up at that time.
Interesting. That's one of those things that like, yeah, it's interesting, but also our brains are very good at synchronizing things for us. I remember, you guys remember going to Woodleaf, right? Woodleaf, Camp Woodleaf or whatever in 6th grade. I remember on one of the nights that we were, oh no, I'm sorry, this wasn't Woodleaf. This was some ASB retreat we did. I remember that like no one had an alarm or something, or no one had phone chargers, or for whatever reason, the few of us that were in a cabin together didn't have a way to set an alarm, but we needed to be up at like 6:45 or something to make sure that we could get to whatever the morning's event was. And I sort of just hopefully was like, okay guys, I'm setting an alarm 6:45 on the dot, like my brain's gonna wake me up at 6:45. And we were totally just dependent on that. And I woke up that next morning. I guess we had to have had a clock to know it was 6:45. But for whatever reason, we didn't have an alarm. Did flip phones have alarms on them?
I feel like I remember you doing this.
Really?
Was it a place that had, for some reason, smelled like sulfur?
Yes. It was a weird retreat that was like set in these like sulfur springs.
Yeah, I remember this. And there was some girl that was like our leader. She was really cool.
Yeah. Anyway, woke up to the minute exactly at the time I intended, and it's not a normal time for me to wake up. And I genuinely think it's because like I might have like lucked into being able to like tap into that part of my brain, but I think our brains are very accurate clocks, and if something is mentally affecting us about a specific time, for our brain to be aware of that time and alert us to that time, including waking us up at 2:13 a.m., I can see that being very natural.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, cool. Let's just do the remote viewing. We'll pick that up. Josh, did you try to visualize?
No, I thought this was more you guys because like also Cole describe where it was, and I haven't been to Cole's place.
Fair.
So
yeah,
I thought this was, and also I don't have any talent for this.
You don't know.
Just kind of destroy my confidence even more with the sports betting.
Yeah, we were busy. Josh, this podcast just saved you like probably $30 by we finished before football, like the early morning game started.
Yeah. I don't bet a lot. Like, I think I'm only down like a little over $100, but
Yeah. So, Cole, did you? So you actually got to like when I was out of town, you actually were standing near my drawing.
Was I?
Yeah,
That's
because
so
there
funny.
was a note from Maddie that was like tucked in there next to it.
Okay. That's so funny.
So you should have. I mean, you should have felt the drawing.
Well, I will tell you there are two parts to what I imagine is there. One of those parts was derived like in my thinking from before I went to California. The other part was only last night or this morning. So it's very possible for that part to be tainted by anything that I saw and just don't remember seeing. Anyway,
Okay, I
what
think
you
I
got?
took a picture of my drawing.
Me too. Of mine, not of yours.
Okay, well, I did it as I was falling asleep last night, and I laid
Nice.
there, and I grabbed it. I don't think that I don't know. I don't feel strongly about it. All I saw was a little like a house, like the door, the windows,
Okay.
like the standard like kid drew a house.
Yeah. You ready to see my drawing?
Yep.
It's a barn. I'm just kidding. It's not. That's
Oh,
it upside down. I drew like a mounted like.
I can't see. You're holding it to the
Oh
wrong one.
yeah, I'm holding it to the wrong camera. It's like a mounted
Whoa, that's
like
pretty good drawing.
bull's head or something. Thanks, bro. I
it's a
first
really
held
good
it up
drawing,
like
actually.
this so that it would look like a barn.
All right,
Um,
what you got for mine?
So the first time I tried to envision it, which was like I think the night you drew it, when I was going to bed that night, I remember like actually having, you know how sometimes you'll in the middle of the night like you'll either wake up or you'll have a hard time getting to sleep or whatever, but when you're like late night loopy brain, some like interesting thoughts come to you. I was having one of those nights, and in the middle of that, I was like, oh, I wonder if that pertains to Tom's drawing at all. And the thing that I was envisioning at that time, and again, this is before I went to California and stood in your kitchen, um, was I remember feeling like there was something structural, like something with like straight lines, and then I remembered wondering like maybe there's a hook element to it. And so I was like, I wonder if he drew the candy cane that he jokingly said that Santa saw in his remote
Oh,
viewing. So I was like maybe a candy cane or something. But either way, I feel like there's like these like shafts, like structural straight, like something like that. And then today, I guess this morning or last night, I don't remember, when I was thinking on it, I was like, I think there's something. Josh, what's up, Josh? No, we'll get to you later. I was like, I think there's something like even more structural about it, something boxy. Like I feel like there's like squares, boxes, and then maybe also something with hooks or something. So I started trying to think about how those could cross over. I was like, Christmas presents and candy canes. I couldn't really get anything.
okay. So you drew what, candy canes and presents?
I suppose, but that's just
Well,
a guess based on the idea of structural square shapes and structural long shapes, potentially with curves on them or hooks.
so when you said you did it a second time, so what was that?
That was so the boxes came in the second
Okay.
attempt.
Not only are you wrong, at no point in well, I can't even quote Billy.
Your
Madison,
incoherent rambling.
right? Yeah.
Did you even approach what I could consider a rational thought?
It's too blurred.
Maybe the tail?
That's so funny. I love it. We both drew animals for some reason. Oh, kind of. Mine's dead, but
Meow.
Mine's
Yeah, yours used to be an animal. Also, this cat is
Oh.
dead. This cat's dead too.
they're both stuffed.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I think that maybe it was just a flash in the pan. It was just a
Yeah.
um But yeah, maybe we should just make this a segment where every week you just draw something and we'll just keep trying.
Cool. I'm down. Also, remote viewing's bunk. Nothing is real.
Yeah.
It's all bullcrap, and I rescind everything I said in the last 2 episodes.
The CIA, if you guys have been documenting this to maybe induct these two into your research, go ahead and call that off.
I forgot to even mention on our episode about remote viewing that in preparation I watched the movie Click.
Nice. 2 Adam Sandler references back to back. That's kind of fun.
Okay,
before we get going, guys, I do want to end on a clip. So this is one of my favorite ghost clips. It's one of many like it, but it's
this is your own?
poltergeisty. No.
Where should we be looking?
Just, I don't remember exactly. Maybe at this lady who's eating.
Yeah, that's where I want to be focused on.
I don't know how long this is. Hold on. Oh, no, we're good. We'll wait it out. You see that?
No.
Okay, the napkin on the table budged. The chair just moved. Menu moved. I think that's it. Yeah, so that's one of my favorites. It's by no means a Patterson Gimlin Bigfoot video, but it's a fun one for reasons that we can discuss.
Yeah. Maybe we can do a whole episode on videos like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That video and videos like it. So
I just see that and think, how would I stage this?
Totally. That's what you should be thinking.
yeah, we'll go into it on another video.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I dig. Awesome. Well, thanks for doing this, guys. We'll do the next one continuing on the ghost conversation, and you guys will both accept the existence of ghosts and be terrified for the rest of your lives. And that's really all I want out of this.
Yeah.
So,
And if I die before then, just count me in. I'll still be here.
cool,
I won't be
cool,
stepping on any caterpillars or flicking any butterflies till then.
Yeah.
Cool. Also, I'm going to link a short film that Tom and I made in high school about ghosts.
Just in case this podcast wasn't embarrassing enough.
Yeah.
Later, fellas.
Cool. Thanks, guys. We'll see you.